Addiction is a state characterized by compulsive drug use or compulsive engagement in rewarding behavior, despite negative consequences. The disease model of addiction describes it as a disease with biological, neurological, genetic, and environmental sources of origin. Although that addiction is defined as a chronic disease by most medical associations, but others think addiction cannot be a disease rather than a corrupted choice, because the early stage use may be by choice, and some addicts get better without treatment. For now, we will try to ignore this controversy between the disease model and the choice model of addiction, and focus on the biology of addiction. The brain is a complex communications network of billions of neurons or nerve cells. These neural networks control all human activity and everything we feel and think. Our brains are wired to ensure that we repeat activities important to our survival, like eating, by connecting those activities with feelings of pleasure through releasing certain neurotransmitters as dopamine. Dopamine is the primary neurotransmitter of the brain's reward circuit, that is a part of the limbic system. It plays a role in regulating emotions, cognition, motivation, and feelings of pleasure. The released dopamine by the addictive stimuli, drugs or behavior, acts on the brain's reward circuit, creating a feeling of pleasure, intense excitement and euphoria. Repeated release of high amounts of dopamine by addictive stimuli can cause a reduction in the sensitivity and number of dopamine receptors, or simply releasing less dopamine. The result is less dopamine signaling in the brain. Therefore, the ability to enjoy doing things and feel any pleasure is reduced, and the person feels flat, lifeless and depressed. So, the person needs that addictive drugs or behavior just to bring dopamine levels up to normal. Although vulnerability to addiction vary across the population, it has long been established that genetic factors along with environmental, for example, psychosocial factors are significant contributors to addiction vulnerability. The two properties that characterize all addictive stimuli are that they are reinforcing, that is, they increase the likelihood that a person will seek repeated exposure to them, and intrinsically rewarding, that is, they are perceived as being desirable and pleasurable through stimulating the reward circuit. Examples of addictions found everywhere including alcoholism, addiction of amphetamine, social media, cocaine, nicotine, opiate, excess food, gambling, shopping, playing video games and sexual addictions. Depending on the type of addictive stimuli and the person's specific circumstances, treatment may vary for each person and it usually needs long-term treatment. Research shows that combining treatment medications with behavioral therapy is the best way to ensure success for most patients. Despite the brain changes due to addiction, brain imaging found that the density of dopamine transporters in a brain area called the stratum showed remarkable recovery, at least partially, after long abstinence from drugs, 14 months.